So, you thought Morbius was good. Let's check out Madam Web.
Boom, you looking for this?
Alright, guys, I'm going to keep it real with you. Morbius made how many?
It made like 10 more billion.
$10 more billion. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Madam Web's gonna make $20 billion.
Oh, wow.
$20 billion.
That's gonna be the number one movie ever.
Oh, for sure, no doubt. And let's go ahead and jump into our review starting now. All right. On a real note, though,
this movie's been getting a lot of flack.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot of flack. I do not think it was that bad.
No, I don't either. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I'll say it.
I'll say it. I enjoyed the movie.
Now, do I think it's the greatest thing to ever grace a screen?
No,
not necessarily.
No, not at all.
But I didn't think it was. I think it was at a 14% last time I saw it on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it was that bad.
So I guess we can talk about things that we liked about the movie. So let me think. I thought whenever I was walking into this. Whenever I saw it was 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, I was for sure that this movie was going to make absolutely no sense. Like, the plot was going to be not, like, incohesive and everything. But that was not actually the case.
Yeah. I feel like to me, that's, like, the main worry, is that the plot is just bad, the pacing is off, and it just feels like a whirlwind. Nothing makes sense. And I don't think that's the reason it got such a low number. I mean, to me, it made sense.
Yeah.
Even though they were cutting into the future and back and forth, I think they explained it, fairly well.
Yeah, and now that you said pacing, which is something that like we always talk about, this movie actually didn't feel paced too bad at all. It felt like it did for sure drag a little bit in the second act, no doubt. But I would say like in general, like from start to finish, I felt like it was paced really well, and there wasn't like any gaps in the story, and there wasn't something that was over explained. Like there wasn't too much, but there wasn't not enough either. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and that's something we're talking about on like the car ride back, is that they had potentially like 5 or 6 origin stories if you count Uncle Ben, Ezekiel.
Yeah.
If you count like the girls, but really they only went into Madam Web's origin story, which I think was a good move which I don't know if we're going to get any more movies off of this one, but I think it was a good move to not try and cram everything in, but just kind of have like Uncle Ben. I think he was a good role, like having there.
He was a plot device for sure. But
have him there, but also he was he made some funny jokes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I did enjoy the train scene. I thought that was pretty interesting. How they fleshed out like the 3 different moments in the future for each of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that scene was pretty cool to see how that played out. And I thought it was fairly intense.
Yeah,
how
for
they
sure.
had to escape from him, and he's crawling on the ceiling.
Yeah, I definitely
not
felt
walking, as they said.
Yeah, I definitely felt the tension from for a lot of scenes in this movie, because like you know that like it almost was kind of a thing where it's like, is she seeing the future right now, or is she seeing the present?
Yeah.
And so like on the train, like at the beginning, whenever she's seeing all of it, it's like flopping back and forth between like what's going to happen in the future and what's happening in the present. And like it had you really confused. You're like, am I about to see somebody like die, or like is this just a vision? Like, so it was that was pretty interesting. I thought they did that well. Like it felt like a thriller in a sense.
Yeah. And it used a pretty cool device, like where like she would take her jacket off and then like it would be back on. So that's when you know that she's back to before and she was seeing the future. Mm-hmm. Or like that guy kept saying like it's crazy in New York or whatever.
Yeah,
these days.
Or the guy kept on coming and asking, being like, am I on the right train?
Yeah. So I think that was a pretty cool device, how they would like, that's how you know that she is back to before.
Yeah, they gave you like an anchor point almost to reference. So that was really cool. I think they did that really well. And then I feel like theme wise there were a lot of good themes. Like you said something like about adopted family. That was like because by the end of the movie, like all 4 girls, all of the 3 Spider Women in the future, and then Madam Web are all pretty close. So like I thought that was really cool. And then there was another thing I was thinking of too, or like overcoming like past wounds, like being able to like properly move forward whenever you let go of the past.
Yeah.
I thought that was another good theme. So.
Yeah, and I think it was cool how they kind of like tied in like all of their backstories, and they all kind of had that shared experience in a way with their backstories, and then yeah, like you said, that's kind of how they became close, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and another thing, this is probably going to feel like, I feel like this review feels like a shotgun. It's just all over the place. But another thing I liked is how, like, every single character, Julia, Maddie, and Anya, all knew Cassie individually. And then, and like, you see it weaved in early in the movie, and like, if you had watched the trailers, you knew that was going to happen. Yeah. But still, it was kind of cool to see, like, every single one of them were intertwined with Cassie at some point. And so she makes a point at the end of the movie to the villain, and was like, they weren't your future, I was, which was actually pretty cool. Like, he was scared of them, but in reality, the person he should have been scared of the whole time was her.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Was Cassie. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was neat how they tied that in.
Yeah, so it had a lot of good stuff going for it.
Yeah.
But what were some of your gripes?
So Ezekiel, I could probably count the number of times I saw his mouth move on one hand.
That's so real. That's so real.
And you know, nothing against the actor.
I haven't seen him in anything else, so I don't know if this is...
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure they just told him, hey, we're cutting half your lines. Well, no, like 80% of your lines, say this in a studio somewhere. We'll make sure we don't see your mouth.
There was literally one scene where, like, he's talking to this woman at a computer, and every single time he talks, it pans away from him, and the line is the most flat deliverance you've ever seen. Like, it's so flat, and it sounds like he did record it in a studio.
Yeah.
Like, there's no inflection.
Yeah.
There's no pace. There's not, like, it's not like he's talking like normal. He's like, it's just him reading.
Yeah, and again, that's not...
It's not
his fault, really, assuming this is what happened, is that he's given lines. The movie, he's already shot all of his parts that have since been cut, and he don't know the context.
Yeah.
He's just reading what they gave him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was the main detractor for me.
I'm pretty sure at one point he was talking and the lines, like the words coming out of his mouth,
nowhere near. Nowhere near.
Didn't match up with what he was saying. So, yeah, that was definitely one big detractor. I noticed it. Yeah, I really didn't notice that part until the computer scene that I was just talking about, and then I was like, wow, like they really dubbed over this whole entire sequence with him. I wonder what he said. Which I wouldn't even think about that twice, but I've watched so many new Rockstars videos that now, like, I know to look for it.
Yeah, and also, I was thinking the same thing, but also it was just so much of it, man. Like his face wasn't shown, or just his mouth was moving at a different time than the words. Yeah,
and I feel like as far as, like, to say something good about the villain, I feel like his character was very bland, but also I feel like he had a decent motivation. Like, and he was scared of dying, obviously, but like, and the way that he's even tied in with Cassie was pretty cool. But I feel like his motivation was pretty... You could not get behind it, but you could understand why he was, like, trying to kill these 3 teenage girls. Like, it made sense because of what they would become in the future. It's kind of like would you kill Thanos if you could go back and kill him when he was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Type thing. So, I thought that was pretty good. I'm trying to think of another... Oh, yeah, I think another gripe in general was just quality. Quality in general.
Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter say it felt like a CW show.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it as if this was an $80 million CW show, it would be a great one. It'd be a really good one. It would be top tier, like Green Arrow, like early season The Flash type CW show. Yeah. But aside from, like, I feel like acting in general, they had some A-list actors for sure. Sydney Sweeney is a big actor. You had Isabella Merced. Adam Scott, I can never remember his name, but the guy who played
Scott, Dakota Johnson,
the guy who played Uncle Ben, and then Dakota Johnson. So you had some big actors in there. So it was kind of like weird to see their characters feel very bland.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was a script writing issue, which I feel like that was a script writing issue, which I don't know if that you could count that as quality. I don't know how you would count that, but
yeah. I mean, I guess that's like another thing is just the delivery on the lines, which again is most likely not something the actors... Yeah, that's it's something they were told to do, like deliver it this way. But to me, it just didn't land that well. Like, a lot of the delivery felt very flat.
Yeah, even like emotional scenes were like super bland. Like, there was no... It was almost like there was no oomph behind it. Like, they were just like, oh, I never knew you did that for me. Like, I just felt like, okay, yeah, I can sympathize with you, but it's so, like, it just lacks... Like, I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess just in general, the quality felt like it was in 2003 when this movie takes place.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a decom from my childhood.
The camera quality was also something else I was thinking. Like, in the final scene, they're like, the camera quality, not in like action scenes, I would say, not in like normal just like movie scenes, like moving places and things like that, but in action scenes it was like super photorealistic. And maybe it's just because I'm so used to seeing CGI, but something about it being super photorealistic did not sit well with me. I was like, what am I watching right now? I don't know if that it felt like a CW show. That's kind of what it reminded me of. And like the action choreography also felt super slow.
Yeah, I will say though, like certain shots I think were pretty creative with the action.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way it was just mixed in, like I guess that comes down to choreography. It was just kind of, it felt off to me. But they did have some cool ideas, like with different shots, I think.
For sure. And I think like we were talking about this on the way back, but it's like if you could get anything in a movie right, like between script writing, score, like plot cohesiveness, all that stuff, if you could get anything right, the easiest thing to get right in our day and age with the budget that Sony has is quality. And and that's the thing that I feel like most people, like when you go to watch this movie, I really didn't think the plot was cohesive. I think like it made sense. I think the story was pretty good overall. I think the thing that people are hating on the most is the quality, and they just don't even know it.
Yeah, because I think that's something like in this day and age, we just inherently go to a movie like with this, big of a budget, high production, expecting quality. It's not something we go in like, I hope the quality's good on this. It's just something we expect. And then when you go in there, it's like, okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, it's a thing. It's like you don't know what you have until it's not there. I will say this. I would rather have worse quality with a cohesive story than a non-cohesive story with good quality. Because I've seen a lot of those with bad stories and great quality, and those movies are horrible. Every single, that's like a Fast 9, like a Fast 10 type thing, where it's got absolutely zero story, but it's got good CGI, I guess. Like so.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I guess to each their own, but to me, I would like to be invested in the story. Mm-hmm. And yes, quality matters a ton, but yeah, I mean, if I could only have one or the other, I'd like to have a good story. But to me, it doesn't bring it down to like a 14%. I wouldn't give it a 1.4 out of 10.
No, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's people just hating. I'm pretty sure at this point. I think I'd probably give this. I would give this like a 5.5 to 6.5 out of 10. I think I'd probably err more on the 6.5 side. I do not think it was a 5 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm in that same range or so.
If you're watching this review and you've made it this far and you're wanting to know if you should go see the movie, heck, why not? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, I guess $9.58. That's what I paid to get in. So, I mean, I wouldn't go see an IMAX. I wouldn't go buy like popcorn. Maybe go to Dollar Tree and spend less money. But like, or maybe go on $5 Tuesdays. You can go watch this movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I would recommend it. To me, it was a good time, and I mean, I don't regret watching it. Like I've seen people say, like. To me, it was a good time.
Yeah, and a lot of that is probably just engagement farming. So that's just it is what it is. Yeah. You can always expect BoomShot to tell you the truth. So,
or at least our opinion.
Yeah, at least our opinion. It may not be the truth, but it's our true opinion. So it counts for something. But anyway, let us know what you guys think. If you've seen the movie, did you like it? If you haven't seen the movie and this review helped you decide what to do, let us know. And thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.